How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. So, I just wanted to get right into it. I was watching some, reels of you back in the day, and honestly, you took some headaches, some crazy blows. I want to ask you, out of all the people that you went up against, who would you say hit the hardest?
Out of all the people that I went up against, probably Adrian Peterson. Having to see Adrian every day in practice was a big feat, so to speak.
Yeah. And I think that, when I watched some of those reels back in the day, I mean, you obviously went through a big rehab. Tell us a little bit about that.
About the rehab, you're going in
Yeah.
and out. You're breaking up a little bit. So you said the rehab?
Yeah, like you obviously went through a big injury, right? Obviously, tell us a little bit
Multiple.
about that.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
had I had 9 knee surgeries. I had two microfractures, a chondroplasty, patella debridement, torn Achilles. I have a reconstructed shoulder. And it's just, a barbaric sport to play.
Hmm.
But it's one of those deals that ultimately I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change much.
Hmm. What got you through it? Like all these injuries, like what was your kind of like, was it some sort of system that you went into in terms of like hyperbaric chamber? Did you have like, give us some insight on like what's your process?
So the process for me was like one hyperbaric, 100%. I stemmed everything that I did and I PRP'd everything that I did to give myself the maximal value of what I needed to do to get back to playing. Um, Unfortunately, with those type of surgeries and the frequency of me having the surgeries, it
Hmm.
just kind of just takes a toll on your body, and that's kind of why I retired. Um, I spent more time on an operating table than I did actually playing,
Hmm.
and it was just a situation to where I wasn't my best version of myself.
Yeah, no, I mean that's like for a lot of people out there, like even myself, I used to play ball, I used to be a running back. And I mean, I had to call it quits when I had some bad injuries. It was just not worth it to me. But I mean, you kept going, like, bro, like I saw the amount of injuries you had, and you have one hell of a mindset, bro, like insane. Like for people out there who are obviously watching this, I'm sure a lot of people are going through some injuries right now, and they're thinking like, should I? What advice can you give people out there who are going through like really tough injuries right now? How can they get through it? You like what would you tell them?
Just be patient with yourself. Don't rush the process. There's nothing, you're no good. I mean, my whole mentality was all I got for as long as I got it, right? And you're no good to anybody if you're injured.
Mm,
So don't rush coming back. If in the event that something unfortunate happens, take the time to
mm,
make sure that you're your best version. A lot of people, and I did this as well, you rush back because you think that, you know, things are going to pass you by. And sometimes it does. But, just to be the best version, you want to, and especially with football, right? Your resume is what you put on tape.
mm,
So for you to come back and not be the best version, that goes to all 32 teams, you know? So my advice would be to one, make sure that you diet, you sleep, supplement well. And then two, if in the event that you do have to go under the knife, make sure that it's the best person that's doing it.
mm,
And take inventory of your rehab. Like I've always been a major advocate of like I want the best with me. And I ask questions. So I went to school. My undergrad is kinesiology. So
mm,
I need when I can go like by the time I got to like my third or fourth, I would go in and give the doctor the diagnosis. Like I have a medial condyle defect here. It's here. It's about half a centimeter, and I have the pain here, and it's quite acute. And they're like, "Oh, you're using words that we normal people don't even use."
mm, mm. Tell us a little bit about, obviously, you had a pretty crazy college, played some pretty good college ball, got the calling for the NFL draft. What was that like? Like tell us a little bit about, being in college, getting the call, what that whole experience was like.
Going to the University of Oklahoma was the best decision I could have ever made. Starting as a freshman, making history to start as a freshman there, to be a three-time captain, two-time All-America. It's just stuff that dreams are made of, you know?
Mm,
And then playing in the national championship game, you know, the biggest game, all eyes are on you. There's no other game that's being played on that day, you know. Unfortunately, we didn't win that game, but not many people can say that they were there. Um, I played in the Boise State game, that probably one of the greatest, considered to be one of the greatest college games to date.
for sure.
And so for me, it was just like a dream. You know, you don't, you know, literally big man on campus, like things the movies are made of. You know, like we didn't lose at home.
Mm,
So the fans and the student body got extremely spoiled because if we played a game at home, you knew it was going to be a great celebration after every home game.
mm,
And to go down that journey and trajectory as well, and then be able to be have my name called on draft day, fifth round, 147th overall, to be a positionless guy. They told me I was a hybrid, and this, that, and the other, and
mm,
I was, got drafted to a position I never played before. I mean, it was mind wrecking because I had a daughter. I was a new father. My daughter was born a week before I got drafted.
mm,
So for me, it was survival. And I was like, that's all I've known. If you know anything about my childhood and my upbringing, I had to survive. So I just figured out a way to compartmentalize what I did best.
mm,
And I used those skills. And, thankfully, man, I was able to be one of the most elite to play in the league, one of the most elite to play big time ball at a Power 5 university,
mm. When you look back, when you went to university, obviously you got drafted 147th overall. What, when you think about all those times and everything, is there one time that really stands out for you where you were like, that this is the pinnacle. This was it.
Twice. One was a kid from Alexandria, Louisiana, to get a D1 fully paid
Mm,
scholarship. So my first time running out of the tunnel in Norman, like that was like, holy shit, that first. And then, right, you go through the rigors of summer and, some games you didn't win and coaching turnover and this that, and the other. And then the end, right? You go through like that begin date, and then that's that dash, and then the end date is my last game was the national championship game, and I got a pick off of Tebow and company, and I was able to look up in the stands with about 30 of my contingency and point out that was probably the pinnacle for me. Like win, lose, or draw, it didn't matter to me. I did it
mm, mm,
at the highest of high. you
mm,
know
mm,
I've been trying to look, I speak to kids and stuff all the time, and I've been trying to find my post game
mm,
interview, and I cannot find it for the world, but it was like I didn't shed a tear. I was like, I gave 110. I have nothing to be ashamed about.
mm. And when you came into the NFL, right, and you got on there, let's say it was like the first time you stepped on the field, the first practice you were at. What did you feel? Like, what was it like? Were you surprised with the talent? Did you feel like you fit in? Was it like what was the emotional experience? But as well, like, give us some insight on like what was going through your head as first hit the ground.
Business.
Mm,
The first thing that crossed my business.
mm,
Everybody was a brand,
mm,
and even at practice, you're being sold something.
mm,
you know and then obviously talent wise, like the only thing that changed for me was the speed of the game, like it light speed.
mm,
Don't get me wrong, nothing, the Big 12 was great. I played against some great guys: Vince Young, Jeremy Maclin, Jamal Charles, those guys, but those are like one guy on each team, right?
mm,
Whereas at every position in the league,
mm,
guys are elite.
mm, mm,
And you get and there's no I'm holding your hand like right now. I don't know if you pay attention much, but like there's a lot of guys, in my opinion, they get their hand held and like brought along. No, it was you're thrust into it,
mm,
and we'll see what you're made of.
mm. What did you do essentially? Like, what was obviously you had a lot of injuries. I'm sure you got on the field when maybe you weren't obviously 100%, maybe you were not maybe 70%. I mean, did you have some sort of, secret or something that you could give us some insight on how you kind of played? Because obviously you must have played quite a few games injured. I mean, you were injured so much. What did you, was there a cream? Give us some insight on that, how you got out there.
Maintenance. Like
Mm,
you're gonna like if you show me a guy who's played any type of season football, and I'll show you a guy who's rode the bench. Because you know what I mean. If the guy's not injured or hurting for something, beat up, you just didn't play.
mm,
Um, and just maintenance. You get in early. Contrast, massages, Theraguns, ice and stim, hyperbaric chamber, diet, and sleep.
mm.
Like
How
you
much?
can, there's not a miracle pill. Sorry, not to cut you off.
No, I was going to say, like, when you talk, I know you kind of, really touched on sleep earlier in the conversation. I mean, what kind of sleep were you getting? Were you taking naps? Were you getting 8 hours? Give us some insight on that.
Try to get 8. If you can get 8, you're optimal, right?
Mm,
If you can get that 8, you're optimal. I try to stay away from naps because then it breaks it up. And then if I take a nap, then my latter sleep is off. So I just try to make sure that the duration of the day, I would tire myself to where I would naturally go to sleep and get my elongated 8. And that worked for me, because
mm,
the hours are insane. You're at the stadium offices from 6 to 6,
mm,
and you're there, meeting and then practice and then meeting and then training table and then therapy and then, so it's just one of those deals that you gotta literally lock, like in every sense of the word, like lock in.
mm, mm. What are you locked into upcoming in the next, couple months? Like, what does 2026 look like? What are your goals? What do you got going on?
First and foremost, I want to be the best version of me.
Mm,
Secondarily, it's like a lot of things are out of my control. Me being in the entertainment industry at the present moment right now, and it's kind of shit based on the economy and based on what things are happening. But I would love to land two um, commercial billboard gigs, and I would love to land 3 leading roles in movies. But those are my wants.
mm,
Um, I can only be prepared if in the event that they present themselves.
mm, mm,
So for me, the only thing is to be the best version of me. Currently training for High Rocks, that's going to be out here in Anaheim on December 12th, and that's this. I'm probably in the best shape that I've been since my playing days at the present moment.
mm, mm,
So just adding in and and realizing that your goals don't give a shit about your feelings.
mm. What's your training plan and your nutrition look like these days? Like, are you training 5 days a week, twice a day? Are you eating a couple meals a day? Kind of give us some insight on what that looks like.
Twice a day, 6 days a week, taking an active rest day, active regen day on Sunday, roughly.
Mm,
A lot of running. I don't know if you know what High Rocks is, but it's a shit ton of running at the present moment that I just hadn't done. Based on my job formerly playing, I needed to be elite for 6 seconds, right? Then there's a commercial or something like that.
mm,
Um, and I've always used the analogy that a Porsche isn't used to drive cross country, right? So I've had to like understand that like I've got to start putting miles in because that's what the competition is about. Based on my diet, I'm kind of strict, and I just stay what I want. Stay in my wheelhouse. My mornings are pretty much with my oats and fruit, honey, and my protein before I go and lift, and then midday it's like something the fish lean meats with the green, and then I
mm,
follow that up with the lean meat with the green for dinner as well. Portion control. I try not to overindulge. I do that only when I'm traveling.
mm,
So for me, it's like, I have a shake. I literally have one right here sitting right now.
mm,
Um, and and I just try to stay on top of my protein intake so that I'm not losing muscle because with the running, that's going to happen.
mm,
And then I've kind of pivoted now going into the last 4 weeks before the competition, a bunch of hypertrophy,
mm,
shit ton of reps, 15 to 18, and working on just those fast twitch muscles.
mm. What's your guilty pleasure? Like, you indulge in anything?
Lifesaver gummies. I'm awful. I am I am terrible. Like it's yeah, lifesaver gummies. That
Mhm.
is
That's it, eh? That's the go-to.
yeah, one
Stressful
thousand
days,
percent.
breaking those out.
Oh man. And it's like anytime that I feel like a dip in like my energy, a whole bag. Like I'll sit, I'm bad, bro. Like I'm bad. Yeah.
Wow. Nice,
But other than
nice.
that, like I'm pretty straight, you know?
Mm. When you were playing ball in the NFL, I mean, was there ever a moment where you were like truly inspired or motivated? Like maybe it was something that somebody said, something you saw, something that really just moved you.
Rufus Alexander, not in the league. This is in college. He was my vet. He was my big guy. He was the one who looked over me. And he was all Big 12, all America, everything. Like you what you aspired to be. And we're playing in a game, and just I'm new. I'm still it's still moving a little too fast for me.
Mm,
And I didn't make a play. And he pulled me to the side, literally in the huddle. He was like, "Listen, man, you want your name in the paper?" He was like, "You got to make the plays that they don't expect you to make." And
mm,
that stuck with me to this day in anything that you do.
mm. That's powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about like, when you were playing ball in the NFL. Was there when obviously being a linebacker, I mean, that's a really intense position, right? Like this is, you went up against some big dogs, right? Like tell us a little bit about some of the people that you faced and who maybe surprised you, maybe somebody that you hit and you were like thinking like, oh no, this guy ain't nothing. And then boom, you got,
Yeah, Ryan Moats, running back for the Houston Texans. He went to college at Louisiana Tech. That was kind of my welcome to the league moment. Like I'm like, this dude's small, and I met him in A gap, and I said, oh yeah, this real. This is very real. It's extremely real. But no, I played against the likes of Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton,
mm,
Brady twice a year.
mm,
Ricky Williams was a monster.
mm,
One of my vets in the league was T.O. He kind of shout out to my big brother Terrell, man. He really took care of me, gloves, cleats, anything that I needed. He, no matter what the media might say, but when it comes down to like taking care of his people, is extremely selfless individual. Very,
mm,
very selfless. James Anderson was my vet as well in Carolina. And no, we just played against, each week, Rashad Mendenhall,
mm,
like Jeremy Maclin,
mm,
Jason Avant. It was just guys every week that it was like, there's nothing you could, Ray Rice, Anquan
mm,
Bolden,
mm,
Flacco with the Ravens.
mm. That's some serious ballers there.
Yeah, Wes Welker, Jules, Gronk.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about like, what was it like? Obviously you were doing a lot of traveling. What's the lifestyle like for people out there being in the NFL that look in on it that aren't really familiar? Like, give us the behind the scenes kind of insight on what it's like to be in the NFL and travel and live that life.
It's fake. It's all fake.
Mm,
It's all fake. If in the event that you don't have your core values foundation, it's all fake. It's like at the end of the day, nothing really matters. This is still your job, right?
mm,
And travel, it's dope. You afforded a leisure, a
mm,
privilege that you're able to do, based on the money flow is a little bit different than the normal civilian, right?
mm,
But at the end of the day, if in the event that you don't take care of it, you're gonna be just like the next guy who didn't make it.
mm,
So I'm not saying don't enjoy it because like I've traveled. The only continent I haven't been to is Africa. So I've seen the world, and that's something that I always wanted to do because for me, I feel like I am a creature of culture.
mm,
But enjoy it, but also understand that there is life after football. A lot of us we wear the cape and we think that it's never going. And God, I didn't know I was gonna play just 4 years. I thought I was gonna play for forever.
mm,
Um, but just understand that, like Marshawn said, is one of my guys too, man. Man, just take care of your chicken. Take care that your investments. Make sure that you got the right people. Make sure no one's skimming off the top. And you are your best asset.
mm,
So it doesn't really matter that you might think that you got a lawyer and your agent, and nope, should double, triple check everything.
mm. Tell us a little bit about, what's your favorite book? Like, of all these, you read much. I mean, give us, for people out there who want to tap into you, what book can they tap into that, there we go, The Prophet. Got it right there. Boom. Like you were just waiting for me to ask this question, eh? Nice. What's it
Yeah.
about?
So ultimately, Tony Dungy's is probably more so. It's an uncommon life. What do you wake up and do daily
Mm,
that people are going to see? You know, everybody can have one moment, and then you go into obscurity. But what do you do daily? What is your legacy daily? And that for me is like I just wake up and I just want to make sure that in any room that I step into, I'm my authentic self.
mm,
You know, it doesn't matter whether I'm in church. It doesn't matter whether I'm stepping into the gym, a business meeting, groceries. I'm still, nothing changes. There is
mm,
no facade for me.
mm. Do you do something daily that, you feel like the average person isn't doing? Like, let me give you an example. I wake up at, say, 6 o'clock, and the first thing I do is I get in a freezing cold shower. I don't do it. That's the first thing I do. And I just want to get it out of the way, accomplish it, and be like, you know what? I did something that maybe not everybody else is going to do. Do you have something in your daily routine that you do where you feel this type of way?
There's nobody, for me, it's 2.5 hours first thing in the morning in the gym. And I call it eat
Mm,
the frog, right?
mm,
Eat the frog. It's something that's less, you do the very first thing that you do in the morning is something that you think is less desirable. So you eat the frog. That way you don't have to do it later,
mm,
right? Because we have no idea what's going to come across our plate throughout the course of the day. But if you've done your most important thing, and to me, my safe place is the gym. And I get that out of the way first thing in the morning. After thanking the Lord for waking me, and the people ask all the time, like, I'm like, listen, for me to be able to wake up and still be here, opposed to the alternative,
mm.
I'm thankful enough. And just being thankful.
What's that? Was that weights and then cardio and then stretching? What's that like kind of roughly look like?
So I'm pillar prep. So I'm starting before I touch the weight. I'm making sure that I'm stretched out, that I'm warmed up, I'm where I need to be, this, that, and the other. So like, yeah, I'm not jumping. I'm not jumping under, crazy amounts of weight. Not at this age. Not with these surgeries. No.
Mm,
And then I make sure that my body's ready and primed. And then I'll put in maybe an hour, 65-minute lift, depending, and then post is cardio. So I do 40 minutes cardio, depending on what that modality may be, and
mm,
then I'll stretch after. 2.5 hours, I'm done. And depending on how I'm feeling, I may go like another 40 minutes cardio later.
mm,
But I also try to minimize foot taps.
mm,
So just trying to make it due to the surgeries, right? Every time that I planted my foot, I'm currently at a 6, 7 in pain daily.
mm.
That's
Wow.
just that's just the life I'm living.
Mm.
So.
What do the doctors say? Do they say that that's going to improve over time, or are you going to have to kind of suck it up for a hot minute here?
I'm waiting on technology. I'm due to have probably two total knee replacements here in the next maybe 5 to 6. And that's not something that I'm going to accept. I would much rather deal with the pain.
Mm, mm,
So at the present moment, I'm just waiting on technology.
mm. Waiting on Elon Musk to hopefully come up with something.
Him or some or someone who knows something. I don't care who it is. If in the event there's a breakthrough that can alleviate the pain. I know that one thing that I can't control is the getting older.
Mm,
So, but I can mitigate it, right? I can do my best and try to be the best version of me getting older, right? And that's why I wake up every day and I put in that 2.5 hours. I call it keeping the old man out.
mm,
So
mm,
I'm just doing 39 years old. I'm doing things that most people my age aren't doing. My predecessors, my peers, my colleagues.
mm. I know obviously you've probably been around a lot of influential people, financial people, people giving you investment advice. What right now, give us some insight. Like what advice can you give us investment wise? What do you think is going to be the next big thing in the next 5 years if you were to put something, whether it's Bitcoin, real estate? based on all of the people you've had around you, all the influence you've had, what do you think is something that people should potentially keep an eye on?
Your money. At
Mm,
the I'm quite novice. I mean, I do understand land, which is like
mm,
something that we'll always appreciate. But at the present moment, based on our economy,
mm,
shoebox, put it in the
mm,
shoebox and watch over it. Like you at the, I don't think now is a time, unless you have it to lose twice over.
mm,
I don't think now is the time to go full or all in or to anything. Crypto, invest. No, I don't. It's too uncertain. We just allegedly ended a 43-day governmental locked shutdown.
mm,
You know, people aren't paid and you know what I mean? Like that's unnecessary stress.
mm. For people out there who don't know, where are you based right now?
I'm currently based in Los Angeles, California.
Nice. What neighborhood? Like we're roughly around Beverly Hills,
I'm
Hollywood.
downtown. I'm downtown. Yeah.
Interesting choice. Why downtown? Why did you choose downtown?
I moved out here in 2011. I was out in Dana Point, Orange County, halfway between here and San Diego. But it was my training. It was too far of a commute. And I was like, this, it's crazy that at that time, Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles was under, underdeveloped completely. And it just didn't make much sense to me. I was like, there's no way that it's going to stay this way. So I ended up getting in early.
Mm,
And since then, I've probably seen about 30 buildings go up.
mm.
It went from like desolate, it was like the wild wild west out here, to now people are like, hey, you have extra parking, you know, everybody, traffic is insane, and you know the
Mm.
games and you know everything is wild.
Yeah, I spend quite a few months out actually in Hollywood every year. I'm there for about four months a year, and I get out to downtown, but I haven't seen, I guess maybe the parts that people like yourself. I mean, usually when I get out there, I feel like I'm in a lot of traffic. It feels a little heavy for me, but I mean, maybe I don't know where to go, right? I don't
Yeah,
know.
you just don't. You just a lot of listen. That's you're not the first, and you won't be the last. A lot of people say that, but I love it. I love it. The walk score. I mean, obviously, you're gonna do with the homeless. That's just what it is.
Mm,
Um, but as far as like the walk score to be able to get to from, you know, I don't have to jump in the vehicle.
mm,
It's amazing. You know, you can get nice. You know, there's amazing restaurants. You can shop down here. There's rooftops. You know, you know, you can club. I live upstairs from a bar,
mm.
so you know, it's just one of those deals that if in the event that you're tapped in with the right people, everything will work itself out.
Speaking of tapping in, I mean, for people out there who want to get some insight from you in terms of helping their performance, maybe it's their mindset, can you leave people with something today that, kind of like how that guy left you with that moment where he put you aside and said, hey, step up. What advice can you give people out there to help them with their performance and for their mindset?
Don't ride the wave.
Mm,
Don't ride the wave. Don't. A lot of people, their loyalty lies in their feelings rather than logic and reason. So they get down on themselves because they're not getting the results and this, that, and the other. And then that ebb and flow that people like to ride. I don't ride the wave. Like at the end of the day, like always remember that you're not as great as you think you are. You're not as bad as you think you are, but you're somewhere here.
mm,
And if you can consistently have that mindset, at some you can only go up. Your trajectory can only go up. You know,
mm,
positivity breeds positivity.
mm, mm,
So yeah, my advice is to be 100% the best. It doesn't matter what you if you're a trash man, you know you've heard it before. If you're a pilot, or if you know you want to be the best new and upcoming trainer, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just be the best version of you.
mm. Those injuries that you've had, not a lot of people have obviously experienced that type of, and I don't know for certain, but maybe there's been a moment where you felt like, why me, right? Why me? Why is this happening to me? I don't know, right? My question that I want to get to is when people are going through hard times, like, obviously you've went through these injuries and, they're kind of down on themselves. How do you snap out of it? Like if there is moments where you kind of think a certain thought or you're feeling a certain way, what do you do to kind of get out of that, mindset and into the, let's get this going, let's do it?
I've never looked at any situation as why me, but why not me? Who am I so special? that
Mm,
this can't be happening to me? Like, what makes you, who put you on this pedestal to make you think that you're not supposed to go, you know? And the mindset for me is like, cool, it is what it is. We're here. There's nothing that we can do about it but change our mindset about it. And changing that mindset is being positive. Okay, cool. I'm going to come back better from this setback.
mm,
So my mentality in any situation that I've ever been, whether it be positive, negative, or indifferent, is okay, cool. What's the fix?
mm,
I'm not one to sit and dwell, woe is me, I need someone to feel bad about me. No, what's the fix? How do we come back better?
mm,
Right? And like even most recently, I was filming Bel Air, the spinoff of Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
mm,
I landed co-lead for season 2,
mm,
right? Amazing, an amazing accomplishment, right?
mm.
Very first episode, 5 minutes into the episode, I snapped my Achilles.
Wow.
I was working on 5 projects at the time, 5 different projects. To be in LA, to be working on 5 projects, major campaigns,
Mm.
that's pretty good.
You got a great
Um,
agent then, too. You got to have a great agent.
my
Props to your
management,
agent.
yeah, my management team's amazing.
Yeah.
But I didn't look at that like, why me? I looked at it like, okay, cool. What an opportunity do I have at the present moment to figure out what else I'm good at? So you
Mm,
know what I did? I enrolled in Cornell. I
mm.
went and got my executive presence public speaking degree.
Nice. Nice. Did you have any questions for me, or did you want to talk about anything in particular before we wrap up today?
No, I think that the fluidity of just the Q&A is always is really dope because it keeps everything 100% homey, so to speak.
Mm,
But if I can leave anybody with anything, is just understand that no, one, nobody is gonna save you.
mm,
The world owes you nothing,
mm,
right? And just get up and be the best version of yourself. And failure is not always negative. Sometimes some people fail forward.
mm. I like that. That's powerful, bro. That's very powerful. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. And have yourself a great day, my man.
Thank you as well. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
Yes, sir.